welcome to the Might Ramble podcast.
Ron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest.
Hello, everyone. Before we begin, the views expressed in this podcast are my personal views and do not reflect those of any employer, university, research institution, funding body, or collaborator. Participation by guests does not imply endorsement of my views, nor does my hosting imply endorsement of theirs. Okay, that's all. All right, welcome to episode 16 of the Might Ramble podcast. Today, my guest is Michael J. Palser. I think in some technical capacity, we used to be co-workers at On It. Michael was a coach. I was just working in the cafe. But I wanted to bring Michael on. Michael has done a variety of things. I'm not exactly sure where he grew up, but I know that he was an athlete growing up. And then he's had forays into music, where he's really explored, I guess, his limits there. And then I think he went back into coaching fitness. I think he's been coaching fitness for over 25 years now. Michael has also written a book called Becoming that was published in the last year. And after not publicly doing any music, I think for a while, that's a space he's begun to re-explore. So I guess to kick things off, Michael, you just want to tell us a little bit about like your upbringing, where you're from, and I guess how you landed here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for taking the time to do this. And it means a lot. You know, I've done these before, and it's cool to sit across from someone that you have a little bit of history and rapport with, because it just eases it, you know?
Yeah.
And then thank you for that intro. It's cool to hear that you put time into the story that we're telling today. So thank you.
For sure. Yeah, I think one, I don't want to produce bad content, and two, I don't want to waste your time or my time. So, you know, there's preparation that comes with that. So,
well, it's seen, brother. It's seen. So yeah, back to your question, my upbringing and how I wound up in Austin. So the coolest answer to that is nothing in life is linear, right? Mm-hmm. So as you were giving that intro of like, Michael's done this and this and this, I'm like in my head in this timeline of where I was at, going back and forth, and it's kind of like my upbringing, right? Yeah. So I was born in Fountain Valley, California. My whole family is in Nebraska. Okay. Small farm town,
that's
Nebraska.
Where I'm from. I'm from Iowa. So
yeah.
Very, very similar. I mean, we hate Nebraska, but yeah, we like to say Nebraska's worse than us. So yeah.
Well, it's the heartland. They call it the heartland for a reason, right? Yeah. And so my mom met my dad and followed him from Nebraska to California. Okay. And they had their relationship, their fling. Yeah. And I was the result of that passion. Yeah. And when that was no more, my mom moved me and her back to the farm. And then when she married my father, the man who adopted me, yep. And he's my father. Yeah. Both of our families were from the same town. So my mom and dad were born 6 days apart in the same hospital. So, I mean, everyone knows everyone, and I would not change that. I grew up barefoot, swimming, just outside all the time, playing every sport that I could possibly play. That was my whole life. And like I told you before, that's what led to all of this, was athletics and that mindset and that drive. After 7th grade, my family moved to Cheyenne. So
Wyoming?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Wyoming. So from Nebraska to Wyoming. And that progression, I feel like, was probably the most beautiful progression. First of all, to be born and raised in a small community where family and morals, manners, politeness, courteous, kindness, looking out for one another is like the backbone of not just our families, but the whole community, right? And so that was the first piece of conditioning that I got.
Yeah.
And
the thing is too, like, I grew up in a town like that, right? And it wasn't until I got older that you realize, you know, other people didn't have that experience of like growing up in a community where everyone knows like your last name and, you know, that you're polite and, you know,
Everyone's waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't change that, but there was not a lot of opportunity for sports, right? It was small. And not that I even cared about the opportunity, but just the fact that we moved to a city. We moved to Cheyenne, so my love was sports, and so the potential there for me to have a more profound experience as an athlete was granted there, right? And so that was my whole life there. It was the typical junior high, high school scenario where it's like you're just finding yourself, you're trying to be cool, fit in, all the things.
Hormones are kicking in.
Hormones are kicking in.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like when I look back on that, I was such a different person. Like, there's some cringe memories. Like, I was the jock.
Yeah.
I was the jock. But like I said, that led to everything. And right out of high school, I got an injury. It was jumping out of a hot tub onto broken glass, barefoot. So nasty, right? And that halted me going into extracurricular college sports. But what it also did was it forced me into the gym in a different manner, which was recovery and therapy. And so I was very lucky to do my rehab at a facility that had a public gym and also a physical therapy unit. It was an extension of the hospital there. So I started training at age 18. I started personal training at 18. And that was when I fell in love with training the human body, but I also fell in love with the gift of giving to other people through training and teaching, right? And my very first client couple, they were 74 and 72 years old, I believe.
And you're like 18?
18, right? And so the only way that I know to train is like, let's work on your vert jump. We're going to do sprints and we're going to do like all this explosive stuff. And they just so kindly were like, it's not going to work. And so I had to learn right out the gate that it's not about me. Yeah. It's about giving them the experience and, you know, not hurting them. And so in a big way, they were training me, which was beautiful. That led me to multiple things. So it was funded, right? So it was part of the hospital. So we had a lot of funding. So a lot of equipment, a lot of different modalities. And it was the first time that I ever went to a fitness seminar. And I had my mind blown, right? So it was like, you get certified, you're good to go for the rest of your life. Your learning is done, right? No. I go to this seminar and I see fit people that I've never seen people in person that in shape, right? So there was bodybuilders, there was group instructors, spin classes were just like massive at the time. And it was just this massive conglomeration of everything fitness. And that's when I fell in love with furthering education, which has just been kind of the root of my philosophy, which is study and application, right? Everything that I write and put forth, I either tested on myself, I tested on clients. So it's all about what can I learn, how can I apply it, and then where can I put my own spin to it, right? And so that was that gift right there. I learned right out the gate that I didn't know a lot, which is hard for an 18-year-old. Yeah. But it was beautiful. And that was the exact time that I started playing music as well, because my star athlete mind was like, I got to be in the spotlight. Yeah.
Like I want attention.
I need significance. Yeah. And that was the driving force from learning guitar and learning how to sing. But I didn't know how to go about it. And so in this conversation today, you're going to see me circling back to that athlete's mindset. So how I learned guitar and how I learned to sing was the same approach in the gym. It's reps, it's repetition, right?
Yeah.
I thought that it might be wrong, but that's how I'm going to approach it. But it couldn't have been more right, because I was showing up every day, 30 minutes, hour, sometimes 2, putting myself out there, meeting other musicians, getting in and around other people. And I decided to fast track that and move to San Diego. Because if you move north, you go to San Diego, you go to LA, you're going to make it, right? That's just where it happens. And it was my first big move on my own. I had a couple friends out there that I moved with, but...
And did you solely move, like, was it very focused? Like, I'm going to move here because I wanted to expand my music career?
Oh, yeah, I had it was literally...
Very intentional.
I thought that it was going to be like the movies. I show up on the bus, I get a gig and become famous.
I'm going to be the one in a million, yeah.
But it was definitely with the intention of going out there to start a music career. And that was probably the longest stretch where I stopped training. Stopped training myself and stopped doing personal training. But it was all music. And so it was every day, all night. I'm learning how to play guitar. I'm singing. I'm going and doing voice lessons. I'm going and doing auditions.
Like true devotion.
The 2 guys that I lived with, we were starting a band together, One of the guys that I was living with is probably one of the most amazing guitar players I've ever seen in my life. And so he was like the spear behind that, because he had so much talent, and I looked up to him because it was like, okay, I want to learn the songs that he knows how to play. I want to play like he plays, but I can't yet. So how do I walk alongside him? I'm the singer.
Yeah.
He
can get to the stars, but maybe I can get to the moon, right?
Well, it was just what we had.
Yeah.
It's what I had, which was a guitarist and a singer. And that was a very up and down relationship that we had. But it definitely, it set the tone for everything.
I imagine, too, there's probably some similarities. Like, when you're an athlete and you're in a team sport, you have people, like... Let's say you have a game, I don't know, a football game, a basketball game, and you have your team, in a way you're like, I'm going to war with my team. And the relationships, the actual personal relationships within that environment, you might have people you're like, I have a hard time with you, but like I'm still going to battle with you type of thing. So I imagine there's some similarities there in like the athlete mindset in terms of dealing with teammates, and then this like guitarist with a band and stuff like that.
Yeah, you nailed it. And even more so, with music, because there's not a coach, because there's not a get the ball in the basket, score more points than the other team.
No clear objective.
You win. Yeah.
Unanimous clear objective. Right?
Totally. And ego is a big one, right? And then you throw in booze and drugs.
Yeah.
And you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
It's potential for catastrophe, right? And there were a lot of those. But I was there for like 5 years and learned a lot of music, played a lot of music. A lot of it was just like open mics and gigs. And I was in some cover bands.
Yeah.
But it definitely opened up my perspective on a lot of new music, right? So that was my first taste of, I need to grab as much music and as much influence as possible to develop my sound and just exploring, right? Yeah. And so that fizzled. I had to get out of there. I had to get out of San Diego.
You're like 25 or so. This is maybe like the early 2000s?
Yep. Yeah. Definitely early 2000s, but I moved back in 2006 or 7. So my grandfather had gotten sick.
Yep.
Diabetes was taking him. And my mom's like, you need to come back. So I got a one-way from San Diego to home. And this was in Nebraska, Wyoming. And when he passed, I decided to stay. So I stayed in Cheyenne for a month, maybe the summer. And I'm like, I can't be here. So I went to San Diego. I had like this big dream, and in my mind, it didn't work out. So I went back home, and it was like, nope, you got to go. So moved to Denver.
Can I interject here for
Please,
a sec? I see
please.
some big parallels here with my own story of, I mean, there's a variety of things, but like I came down to Texas. I was like, I got to go back to Brown University on the East Coast. Like, I have this dream out there. I'm going to make that happen. Like, and I tried to go back and make it happen, and it just was not going to work for me out there for a variety of reasons. And then I tried to go back home to like Iowa and Minnesota, but home doesn't feel the same once you've kind of gotten a taste of like really chasing your dreams somewhere else, right? When you come back, and I'm like, this isn't the right spot for me either, right? So I got to get on and move somewhere else, and that's how I ended up back here. But yeah.
Yeah, it's the truth. It takes a different desire. You know, if your desire is to stay there, then it's the most beautiful place. But I knew that what I wanted didn't exist there.
Wasn't the right container.
Yeah. Yeah. And so moved to Denver. The first job that I could land was installing internet for Comcast.
Love that.
And so it was like installing internet and immersing into that music scene.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't driving in the mountains and doing that work, it was, where can I get on stage? Where can I find a band? Where can I plug in, you know? And then that was when I got back into training, you know, so I needed a career change. That wasn't it for me.
Yeah.
And so then that was the first like intersection of music and fitness.
Yeah.
And that was where I met my first bandmates. They were all personal trainers.
Nice. People doing the same thing.
Yeah. And it was beautiful because the gym in a big way is, I think it's probably one of the best scenarios for meeting people. You have to be careful if that's your goal romantically. To meet someone, you know, you got to be tactful. But I mean, like, you're sober.
Yep.
You're moving towards becoming better.
Yep.
If you show up to the gym, you're already winning in a big way, right? And so most everyone has a growth mindset in the gym, right? And so it didn't surprise me at all that those were the people that I found there.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's the people that you're meeting there, right? In some ways, are already filtered for things that probably align with what you want in some way. Right?
Mm-hmm. And that's a big reason why I love fitness, is because it's all expansion. You know, it doesn't have to be in the same lane that I'm going, which is music and storytelling and philosophy. It could be tech. It could be writing children's books. It could be whatever, but it's all growth oriented, you know. But anyway, we started a band, and it was my first attempt at a band with a rapper.
Okay.
Right? So we had two vocalists. I was vocals and guitar, so rock vocals, and then East Coast style hip hop lyrics, rapper. And we had a drummer, and that was it. And his name, the rapper's name was Charlie. So it was Charlie and I, and that was, we had so many musicians coming in and out of that project. Yeah. And I'm fast forwarding here because I don't want to stay too long on one thing, but that became the peak of my musical expression, was that project with Charlie, and it was called Tattooed Strings.
This is like maybe your late 20s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And so that one was special because we finally started popping. You know, like the music we were making was really good. We were getting some notoriety. We were playing big gigs. We were on the radio.
Yeah. You got some like real buzz.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, we started playing really big shows. And then it became more about the shows. Can we get bigger shows? And we were consuming.
What do you mean by consuming?
Drugs and alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and I always told myself, if I ever get to the point where I'm not enjoying singing my own lyrics, I need to like reevaluate.
Yeah.
And there was a moment on stage, the last show that I ever did with that band, I felt that.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's over. And then little did I know, the band had made their decision that they wanted to separate from me. And so,
Love to hear that.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine who I was and how I was in their eyes at that moment.
Yeah.
So just because I wanted to walk away from the band, this is not me going, I decided, and that it was completely on them.
Yeah.
No. I was probably a nightmare, you know? And so it was like this moment where it was like, it's over. Whether I decided to make the decision or not, it's over.
Yeah.
And because of the way that it ended, I was very bitter for a long time.
Yeah.
And
I think, I mean, it like, so I'm someone in recovery, right? And I'm sober now. But there's definitely been phases where I really messed some things up in some relationships, right? I'm sure I was a nightmare. I don't always remember, right? Because you're not exactly yourself when you're consuming drugs and alcohol. But yeah, I mean, it comes with the territory though. Like using a lot of drugs and alcohol, you become very like self-centered, right? And not able to look out. And any type of rejection or relationship's gone wrong, like just it's so easy to live in that bitterness. Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I couldn't point the finger back at me.
Yeah.
I needed to, but I couldn't. It was like they did this person did this. I was done dirty here.
Yeah, I'm the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it took me up until now to want to play music, honestly, right? But what that did was that I got really into my fitness when I walked away from the band. That was when I really started expanding my repertoire as far as like modalities and certifications, all the things. And then that moment in the book happened, you know, where I decide that I am going to, I need to go pick up some salsa.
Yeah.
I've had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
And the whole world got stopped that night, right?
Yeah.
So when that accident happened and the DUI happened, that was a big moment of, you say you want these things, Michael. You know what needs to be done to get these things, Michael. But you're doing the exact opposite without consequence until right now. Like, look at this consequence.
Yeah, finally caught up with you, right?
Hard,
Yeah.
right? I'm going, what if I would have hurt someone?
Yeah.
What if I would have insert anything in there? Man, that would have been, it could have been over.
Yeah.
You know, I was very lucky that like no one else in that moment was affected but me. And that's what started I'll call it my inner study.
Yeah.
I knew that I had to start living, moving, and acting for something bigger than myself.
And this was like 6 years ago, right?
2019.
Or 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during that, I was forced to do group therapy.
I'm familiar.
And a big part of that was like, screw this. I have to show up, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, you need to lean in. And the woman that was facilitating the therapy, I really vibed with her. The way that she spoke, just everything, but mainly I could tell that she wasn't a typical therapist because she talked a lot about Eastern philosophy. She talked a lot about breath work. She talked a lot about most of the things that I'm into right now.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like my path.
Do you view that group therapy setting with this particular facilitator, like that this, I say, gave rise to you being into these specific things? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the origin point.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. There were so many people on there that were just not into it. 20 to 30 people at a time, right? And I was just like soaking up all the things and asking her questions. And then one moment, as class was ending, I was like, hey, do you have some extra time? Can we talk?
Yeah.
And we were talking one-on-one, and she was talking about, one, you need to forgive yourself, because I was being really hard on myself, because that's how I've always been kind of a glutton for punishment, because if I'm hard on myself, it's going to motivate me to become better.
Yeah.
And then she was like, you need to get out of here. You need to go somewhere. Because it was during COVID, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like we're stuck in our houses.
Yeah.
I'm on these group calls virtually.
Yeah.
And she said, you need to get out of here.
Like go do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like clockwork, a retreat popped up in Arizona. And I'm like, bet, I'm going to go. So hopped on in my car, drove to Arizona, not really knowing what to expect. It was a co-ed retreat. It was facilitated by a Navajo shaman. And so we lived the way of the Navajo for 4 or 5 days. And he guided us through. You know, we built a teepee, built a sweat lodge. Yeah. And it was facilitated by him and a married couple. And so it was returning to the earth, the ancient way, and then also the existence and the necessity for coexistence of the masculine and the feminine.
Do you want to unpack this a little bit? Yeah, I'm not super familiar with like ancient and the masculine and the feminine, so I don't know. If you just want to expand, I guess maybe let's focus on like the masculine. Like what does masculine mean to you? Or like what does it mean to be a man, I guess, in your opinion?
Sure. Well, that approach right there, and that thought process was exactly the only thing that I had to latch onto when you talk about feminine and masculine, male and female, right? But when I went there, the way that the feminine and the masculine were being spoken about, it exists in all of us, right? Feminine energy is within me, just like masculine energy is within Angelica.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you want to deny that as a man. No, there's nothing feminine about me. I'm all masculine. I'm alpha.
Yeah.
Right?
I always like to say there's nothing more masculine than just being entirely yourself, right? Let it all come out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And that moment there, and the discovery of the book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, it's all about the dance of those two energies, right? So at times we need to be able to walk and hold this energy. At times we need to walk and hold this energy and be able to dance between the two, right? And it just blew my mind because there were so many things that he spoke about in that book and so many things that were spoken about on that retreat that I didn't know that I was doing, right? And so I wasn't handling business in so many different ways in my relationships. So I wasn't stepping into my masculine. There was no ownership there.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that having the body, having the drive, and being assertive, I thought that was masculine.
Yeah.
But it's not all the time, right? It needs to be, yes, it's logical, but it also needs to be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, I thought bravado was masculine. And it is, but it's not the masculine that should be embodied at all times.
Yeah.
Right? And so what it really did was it made me take a bird's eye view on my romantic relationship, right? So by me being super selfish here, and only being in business for myself, I was forcing my partners to go into their masculine. These feminine women that want to fully embody their feminine nature, they have to handle the business that I'm not handling, so they get into their masculine.
Also assert themselves and be like, hey, you're not handling this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it just gave me a different view that like that side should be a dance, and I needed to lean into understanding both. And my view of what a man really is wasn't working for me. You know? So there's another term that really came forth that rocked me, and to this day I'll lean on it, and it's sigma energy, right? So that's more of like a lone wolf, a quiet dominance. So in a big way, the alpha energy announces their presence.
Yep.
You know, we talk about that in the book a lot. Like, are you embodying? Are you sending signal, or are you just creating noise?
Yeah.
Right? And so seeing myself that in a big way I was just making noise.
Yeah, like, hey.
Hey, look at me, I'm here.
Yeah.
These are all the things that I've done and that I can do, and this is the way that you have wronged me.
Yeah.
Zero ownership, right? And so it was like a retraction. That was like the first receding, the retraction going inward. Yeah,
Having fun yet?
I hope that answered your question on what I received from that
For
retreat
sure.
And like what that did.
I also want to just
my
pause for a
viewpoint.
sec. So I think you're like 44, 45. And in my head as a 29-year-old, I'm always like, by the time I'm 40, like I'll have a lot of these kinks and things figured out as far as how I'm living my life and et cetera, et cetera. But I just want to pause, like, you know, at 38 or 37 or 38, you have this radical transformation of like who you are, right? And how you understand yourself. And that's probably something you didn't expect, you know, when you were 30 years old, like that there was still a huge transformation to happen, right? Where you're going to have to completely reshape yourself to, I guess, get more aligned with the world in a way where you're able to go after the things that you desire, right, effectively. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Freud said everything before 40 is just research.
Well,
and I like that. I like that a lot because, you know, we talked about who I was at 18, thought I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
Didn't.
That's like
26, still don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
Learned some things, you know, and then those checkpoints along the way, it's just research for revealing. And this is different for everyone, but for me, it's research for revealing the thing, which is how can I be of service, and what's my bigger purpose outside of myself.
Yep. And what is that?
I used to think that it was, I am a coach and a trainer and a writer and a teacher to help people find and develop the most powerful versions of themselves.
Yep.
Starting with the body, you know, because I'm a personal trainer, and it starts with the body, and then it transforms into the mind, and then it transforms into something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, like a
and then it's all
right?
one.
Mind and body.
It's never separated. But now my service and my purpose is I live to be the best version of myself. And I know that sounds cliched. I know that sounds like I'm dodging. All of those other things still exist.
Yeah.
That's my duty. My path is through fitness and through my work, my writing, my philosophy. I have no doubt that it has the potential, and it does, help people find the truest, most authentic, powerful versions of themselves. But if that's my only purpose and my only reason, I think that there's still a selfish nature there.
Yeah.
And I've learned that if that is all I'm doing is giving, my growth comes to a halt.
Yeah, it's just like weird. That was something I wanted to dig into. Like, we kind of had this idea of, okay, you're quote unquote like fixed or some, approximation of a fully realized version of yourself. But once you're there, right, like what is, one, you have to maintain being there, right? And if you're only giving and like in a way, I'm not saying this about you, but just like kind of preaching to others, like, here's how we're going to go about this. Here's how we should think about this. I say you can kind of lose that approximation of your fully realized self. Like it becomes, I don't know, a performance of sorts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's embodiment that is the requirement and the must. Yeah. Especially as a coach or a teacher, because I'm speaking all of these things out on how to be stronger, all of the things, whatever I'm trying to teach in that moment. Yeah. And if I'm not living that behind closed doors, hypocrite, fraud. Yeah. And the further that I get in my own path, that weight becomes so much, the blade cuts so much deeper.
What do you mean by that?
The feeling of hypocrisy. Like before I could be like, okay, I said that I want to do this. I said that this is the way that I live, but I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Next
it's
time.
More gravity.
Next
now,
time.
Right? Yeah.
Now it's, it's repeating the same mistakes. It's, oh God. But once you become aware to it, you can't unsee it. Mm-hmm. And it's always this, I don't know if you remember, but the quote of quotes from the book is to live a life that's never done, yet to never die undone.
Oh, yeah. That's your quote. And towards the end of the book is when you first say it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So what that means for me is that the difficulty is never going to stop coming. So can you go, yeah, of course I got a flat tire. Of course this happened. Rather than being like, this happened to me in real time. It was like an argument or something, and then bills that popped up. It was like, oh man, is it ever gonna end? And I wasn't even really that upset about it. It was like that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And in that moment I go, no, it's not going. Yeah. So change your mindset about it, right?
I used to be like, when I was like much younger and struggling with addiction, I was really down, and I'd be like, how many times in my life am I going to have to do laundry? Like, is this ever going to end? Like, just like simple stuff like that, right? But totally get it.
And that's what I love about the Eastern philosophy and the Eastern way of looking at things is everything can become sacred. Once a rigmarole of doing laundry, it can be sacred. You could fold it. Yeah. And make it like a ritual. Yeah. Easier said than done, but like that's one of my close friends here said that, and we were talking about how spirituality can exist in the gym, and he was like, everything is spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, just recognizing, I guess, being present enough to recognize like I'm doing this again, and like, for example, there will be a time in my life, it'll be the last time I ever lift weights or the last time I ever run, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know when that's going to come. But it will happen, and if I'm not present and appreciating it and treating it as like this sacred thing, that last time is going to come, and I'm not even going to notice it, right? And so,
yeah. Well, and then it's in a big way, I feel like if you just focus on presence in your life, you're going to be a lot happier. You're going to really be able to be more grounded and connected and be happier, right? Because what you're talking about is presence, essentially.
Yeah. This is one of the, like, to give a little backstory. So I worked at On It beginning, I think, in October of 2024, right? And that is one thing I always noticed about you. I was like, whatever Michael is doing, he is all the way there, right? Anytime I've ever seen you talking with someone or talking with me, you're entirely present. Maybe you don't feel that way, but in comparison to a lot of other encounters I've seen, that was something that really stood out to me. And I also think what stood out to me remember when my car got stolen?
Yes,
Ridiculous.
like in front of the gym.
Yeah. You were like, I tried to stay calm and not react a bunch. You know, I was like, I can only control so many things. This is just out of my control. And I think you were the only person that you came up to me. You're like, I really love how you've reacted to this, right? And I was like, oh, Michael is noticing things that other people aren't, right? And that really stood out to me. And so I always had this goal. I was like, eventually I want to have a podcast, and Michael will be one of the people that I want to interview, but I got to do some things for myself to be able to do that. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, brother.
Yeah.
That's special. You know, I want to encourage you to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because that right there, I didn't know
Yeah.
that you saw me that way. And it's a reminder of how important that is to take the time. And that also, whenever you get the chance to reinforce someone's good, do it.
Yeah.
And what you just did right there, like I didn't know that would echo the way that it did with you by saying, I like the way that you're responding right now.
Yeah.
It was just me going, hey, that's some good stuff.
Michael's, present enough that he's noticing things that, people typically wouldn't notice, right?
Thank you for that, man, because, we're our own worst critic. And sometimes I'm like, God, I can be better, but
a lot of times
thank
when
you.
I'm at the gym, I'm not I don't really want to talk to other people, to be honest. I'm like focused on training. There are times where I want to talk to people, but yeah, so times in the gym I'm pretty quiet and I don't actually share these things, but I definitely notice that. So
Cool, brother. Thank you.
yeah.
Let's dive into the book a little bit. So where we left off was,
First of all, there's 12 chapters, and
there's 10.
or 10. Sorry.
I was like, because I'm writing
why
a
I
new
think there's
one.
12,
I'm
sorry.
writing a new version, and there's 12 chapters. I was like,
Sorry.
how do you know that?
No. And they have very specific names of the chapters that were unfamiliar to me for the most part until seeing them, but they're, I say, maybe not all like Greek translations.
All of them but one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're awesome chapter titles. And then another thing I noticed about your book that I wanted to ask about, and we'll dive more into it, but in the book, all the text is centered. And I was wondering why you did that. I have a guess, but...
It's interesting you said that because I mentioned the current book that I'm working on. I was using the same template, and then I decided I'm gonna offset that left, and it just wrecked me. Like visually, I was like, I don't like that.
That's not it.
To me, I think it's just an aesthetic from my own site.
My guess was this whole book is about, returning to some sacred or most capable version of yourself, right? It's like coming back to center in a way. And so I was like, that's probably why I put the text in the center. But
Okay, we're gonna rewind that, and that's what I'm going to say because that's legit. What a great way to look at that. Maybe that's my unconscious reason. If because if it was on the left side, I'm like, I don't like the way that looks. So maybe subconsciously I was going, it's not in center.
like the different pillars, I'm just going to use two, but like say mind's on the left, body's on the right. We're going to bring them to center. This was like my thinking. So
I like that. I will regurgitate that for sure.
yeah.
So you want to talk about the chapter titles and how that came up?
Yeah, I would love to. I don't know them off the top of my head, but
I don't either.
there's like telos. We can get them.
Yeah, so a few that
Why don't I pull 'em up?
are my standouts are telos, which is your inner compass, eucharistos, which is gratitude.
Yep.
And then the one that's not Greek is raison d'etre. That's chapter 1. And that is the reason for being, right? Yeah. So as I was putting that together, I put together the themes for every chapter. And I didn't really like the power. I didn't really see the power in me just saying, what's your reason? What's your purpose?
Yeah.
And so that's where that came from. It was like, I want something that holds a little bit more weight, maybe that someone needs to look up.
Yeah.
Or they want to find out a little bit more about this Greek philosophy, because I was really inspired by Stoic philosophy, and I was really immersed into it at the time. And I love words that have almost a paragraph or a book of weight in one word.
Yeah.
Right?
Like it's
like telos.
Yeah. You've communicated a lot of information with this word, right?
Yeah. And it's just, honestly, I wrote this book I really satisfied myself, right? I didn't want someone to edit it. I didn't want to edit it myself. I just poured it out, and this is what is appealing to me. This is something that I would want to read.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah. It's, what do I say? The art of, doing something perhaps new and allowing yourself to be like, I'm just going to express this, with the best of intentions. And it might not all be perfect, and I might not have all the time to get everything just the exact way I want. And I might not know how people are going to receive it, but fuck it. I'm just going to do it. Right?
Ready, fire, aim.
Yeah. That going from like, oh, this is something I'm interested in doing, or something I'm like been thinking about for so long, to like, no, fuck it. I'm going to do this, and it might not work out, but I'm going to put my best foot forward and see what happens.
Unleash it, man. Unleash it.
Yeah. Yeah, in your book too, there's some really good quotes in there. One, the Confucius quote of, you have two lives, and your second life begins when you realize you only have one. Nothing, could speak truer to me, with like my own addiction and stuff, that really came to a point where I was like, my well-being has been like harmed, and I'm not well, right? And it's like not a given that I'm going to be healthy, and I have one life, right? And big wake-up call, like I switched from business school over to doing science, and like, transferred schools and all that stuff. Like it was a big wake-up call for me, as far as like, tomorrow is not a given, a week is not a given, right, in my exact circumstances. And so given that, I better be going after things that I really care about, that are actually important to me, and not just satisfying, expectations of others, or, boxes others want to put me in.
Yeah, man. I've always wondered what the percentage of like those life-altering pivotal shifts, how many of them are from darkness, call it the rock bottom, call it from like, I have to change, otherwise I might die, or I can't go on. It has to be like 99.9%, right? It's hard for me to think that someone could just be so far off their alignment, and then they just have no catastrophe, no rock bottom, and they go, I'm going to change.
Yeah, there's no impetus to change if you don't, yeah.
And it's not that, I'm sure it's happened, but it usually takes a kick in the face,
for sure,
some way.
Yeah.
That's the shift, right?
I said, for me, it's like had to really get beaten into a state of reasonableness, of being willing to look at myself and be like, some things got to change, right? I got to do some things differently. And
well, I'm proud of you for actually changing, because that was another thing I learned in that DUI scenario, is you get involuntarily put around people in the system.
Oh, yeah.
Could be their first one. A lot of times it's their second or third. Zero ownership for what they've done.
It's like the most
their
common
third
person.
time.
Yeah.
And so it's just because you have the impetus to change given to you doesn't mean that you're always going to, it's not a given.
Oh, it's fucking hard.
Yeah. And so kudos, brother.
Yeah, I'll share a little bit more, and then we'll get back to you. But yeah, the last time I drank, it was like, last June, maybe June 10th, June 11th, and I never had any legal consequences for any of my stuff, so I'm very fortunate in that regard. Not that I did anything terrible, but definitely some irresponsible behavior. And last time I drank, I like woke up. I was literally in a cornfield in Iowa, and I had, left my PhD program on the East Coast. I didn't know what my next moves were. Like, was I going to come back to Texas? Was I going to go to Minnesota? I wake up in a cornfield. I don't know where my phone's at. I have a faint recollection of putting a car in the ditch somewhere, but I don't see a car, right? Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening, right? And my jeans are ripped, and yeah, that was like my final time. And I found my way back home, and I told my dad, I'm really sick. Like, I gotta go get some help. It can't go on like this. So.
Wow.
So I'm fortunate I never was, quote unquote, in the system. But, that's
you
just
still had that moment.
Yeah.
You saw yourself like, I do not like this.
And it's scary because you can see that you need to change. You don't necessarily know how that happens or if you can really do it, right? But just being open to like, maybe I can do this. I'm just really giving it a fair shot, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's in a way, it's the pain of trying and failing is far less than the pain of reliving that unaligned life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that the unaligned life, at least for me, it's not really a life worth having. It's just chaos, right? And
well, good for you, man.
Thanks.
Good for you.
Yeah, in your book too, you talk about, well, one, there's some talk about, the masculinity and the authority that comes with being able to own silence appropriately. Mm-hmm. And that's something I need to learn more about personally, but it's definitely like a quality, if I look back on my life, that I've noticed in other men. It's not a common quality, but it always sticks out to me when someone has it. Like, for example, my high school football coach, he was the words he used always got the point across, but he used his words very effectively, and that when they came, you were like, I'm really going to listen to this guy, right? Because he is not always talking and just trying to like fill you with noise. Mm.
Yeah, speaking less makes your words more potent.
Yeah.
And I think it like the easiest summary of that is if you're speaking, you're done learning.
Yeah. You're spilling out, right? Things aren't coming in.
I read that one and I was like, oh, that's short and sweet. I like that. There's so many of them that like echo in my head, and it's a challenge as a teacher.
Yeah.
And someone that has something to say.
Yeah. One question I want to ask before I forget. So, in my opinion, there's a lot of like trainers or life coaches out there where I'm kind of just like, I think you're full of shit. Why would I listen to you? Right? And I don't feel that way about you whatsoever. But from your perspective, I guess, like, how do you balance being like humble and kind and compassionate and giving understanding to other people's, what we see as their shortcomings or insufficiencies? Like, how do you balance that with also, I don't know, at times just being like
dominant?
Well, dominant, but also, I say, seeing people doing it worse than you, right? And not, I guess, remaining humble in that, if that makes sense. Like how do you manage that judgment of others aspects in terms of, you take a lot of pride, right, in your coaching. You've been doing it a long time, and seeing others that are not as far along in their path or going in directions, you're like, I wouldn't steer over there.
I guess I'm not understanding. Are you talking about others that are successful, or just other people that aren't in the same journey that I am?
Let's say there was, I don't know, a younger coach that was like super arrogant and braggadocious and like, I've got it all figured out, and they have like a lot of followers and they're doing really well financially with
so you're talking about someone that's like really like killing it in the game, and they
but,
don't. Yeah,
but like a sense of like, what, like if you actually know the person, you know, you're like, I kind of think you're a piece of shit in a way, right?
Oh man, that's called judgment. And I had a big residence there.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? It's because I'm not doing it. The easiest answer to that is, how do I combat that? Is it's so much easier said than done, but every single thing that I cast judgment on, I think I've done a pretty good job training myself to be like, where does that exist in you?
Yeah.
It didn't always used to be like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, being in the social media, the world as a trainer that's trying to build an empire,
Yeah.
you see the booties and the physiques, and there's no substance behind it, but they are quote unquote smashing it.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, what is happening? I'm going, how are they killing it? They're winning the game in a way that I'm not tapping into, apparently.
Yeah.
And so there's a different avenue that needs to be explored by me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, so from a business standpoint, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing something right.
No, yeah.
You know?
I was just telling my brother this the other day, actually. I was like, when I find myself being judgmental, it means that something's up with me. There's something I'm not taking care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can be hard to identify what exactly that is, but at least being able to recognize, like, oh, compared to a week ago, I'm passing way more judgment here, right?
And sometimes you get beautifully surprised by going, where do I need to point the fingers back at me? And you point the finger back at you, and you go, no, I'm good. I'm not. That's not me. So my judgment isn't judgment. It's an intuition, and that's someone that I'm not going to give my energy to.
Yeah.
That doesn't deserve my energy, and I don't need to, because like my circle is small by design. My inner circle, my inner sphere, my sphere of influence is small, and so it's like, is the fact that I'm not willing to give them time or receive their time, is that a judgment, or is it there's an energetic thing where I don't want them in my circle?
Yeah, and I also think of it, I think you mentioned earlier, like, you know, the goal to be the best version of yourself. And I view it as, if there's someone, you know, that is not upholding or showing up in a relationship in a way that's reciprocate to like the level of effort or investment I have in them, right? And this happens repeatedly. I'm like, I will be the most productive and generous in giving version of myself if I take the best care of myself. That's where the best will come out, right? And in order to take the best care of myself, I have to have the right people around me. Right?
Yep.
We become so much alike to the people that we, you know, deeply intertwine ourselves with.
Inventory.
Yeah.
Trimming the fat.
Yeah.
And, you know, it sounds harsh in a lot of ways. What if it's like your oldest friend? Well, are you going to preserve that old friend relationship and sacrifice your own growth? Okay, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there are some cutthroats out there that we all admire. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
Oh, psychos. Awesome.
Bro, they're not
Insane.
going to put up with anything because of their mission.
Yeah.
And that cutthroat energy is not for everyone, right? But it's, what are you willing? What do you want? What are you willing to do? If you want to preserve that friendship and sacrifice what you could be, that's on you.
Yeah.
And there's a tact, man. There's a tact, because it's like, I feel like when you walk the path of like, okay, I'm trying to evolve spiritually and consciously, but I'm also trying to build a business empire and be like a savage version of myself.
Yeah.
man, there's some tact when you cut someone out of your life. Because the business side of you, the growth side of you is like, bye. The spiritual side is, they are me. I am them. You know, and so it's like there's just a lot of self-talk that happens in my case when I'm going, I need to really think about, do I want this person in my life?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And what did I say? One question I have is, so compared to say 2019, which was your bottom, right? Things have changed a lot, but in relationships, whether it's romantic or platonic, like what are some big changes, like in terms of how you show up differently compared to back then? I can answer one.
Yeah.
You're really present. I don't know what you were like in 2019, but you're always right here.
I can say that I see that about myself too. Yes.
You're calm. Like I can't imagine doing something that would, make you like flip. But I also know that if you oblige yourself, it would be very focused and what do I say? Like dangerous in the right ways. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the big one is the seeing the world outside of myself, right? So, Angelica, in 2019, we had just like started to come together romantically and build work on a relationship, and it wasn't like 2019 happened and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a better man. There was a 2 or 3 year stint from that moment on that I was like so outrageously selfish with our relationship. And just because I was honest, I thought it was okay. I told her what I didn't want. I told her what I wasn't willing to put up with. I told her this, and this, and this, and this is how it is.
Like your sphere of control. You were laying down things.
I'm honest. You don't like it. Okay. That's just where I'm at. And I don't regret that because it allowed me to really focus on myself to improve myself. But that woman stayed.
Yeah.
And I say it in the book, like she stayed and believed in me until I did too.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'd say that the biggest change is me flipping it from, I need to work on myself. I don't have time to go all in on this relationship. I don't have all the time to devote to.
Yeah. Don't you understand how busy I am with all these things, right? Yeah.
I thought that me surrendering to the relationship fully was going to domesticate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Domestication is a good word for it, right?
Yeah.
But it was the exact opposite. When I moved here to Austin, it was like, I'm going to bring her with me and I'm going to go all in.
Yeah.
And body and heart, right? And that's what gave me my danger. That's what gave me my power. Because what it did was it removed everything else off of the table, right?
What do you mean by that?
A man's desire to have every woman.
Oh, yeah.
Lust.
Yeah.
So I wasn't cheating, but I wasn't faithful in my mind.
Yeah.
I was like always leaving a little bit on the table, like what if, right? Or I would like pull back energetically because we had an argument or a disagreement and I'm like, well, guess that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Right? So removing the exit from the equation and then removing like my lust from the equation, absolute freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. It will always be there.
I mean, yeah, we're just like.
But it's like now I get to look at it and be like, that's not on the menu.
Yeah.
That's not on my agenda, not even close.
Right? Yeah.
And so that is signal and not noise, and how I was speaking to Angelica in our relationship, so that empowered her. And then it made me go, well, if I got power from that, by me diving into her and us. What other power can I get? And it was an inspiration to be more. And it was also the invitation to finally accept that I have to lose the obsession with my own physical body. Being an athlete and then a personal trainer and a bodybuilder, and I have all the tools and the knowledge to get fit and ripped.
Yeah.
There's mirrors everywhere in my gym.
Yeah.
Where I spend 8 hours a day, it is all external, right? And it was like, yes, she appreciates the fact that I take care of myself physically, but it doesn't matter to her. That's not the big game. That's not the end game. And so it's like, you need to get over that. Yeah. You've already climbed to that mountain. You're good. Yeah. Now, where's the mindset? Where's the love? Can you just pour into her more?
Yeah. And
then what that did was like, can I pour into the service of this business? Yeah. Which is truly helping people.
Yeah, it's like I've gotten good with myself.
It's not just making money. It's not just, and that was a tricky one coming here to On It, because it's such a social media friendly gym, right? Like, and it's so easy to get sucked into that.
I had no idea what I was getting into. My brother was just like, "Oh, go to this gym. When you come down here, you should work there." And I was like, "Okay."
And you walk in, you're like, "This is fucking Sparta."
That experience of, I think you were talking about when you were younger, you had never seen so many like fit people when you first got out to Cheyenne. That was me coming down to Austin, or to On It. I was like, "Oh my God."
Same, dude. Yeah. Same. I moved here for it, you know? And I remember, I mean, even to this day, there'll be moments when I got off that injury recently at the end of the year, you know, I wasn't in as good a shape as I normally like to be in. And you go to the gym, you get ready to take your shirt off, and you're like, and maybe a couple more weeks. It's hard. Yeah. So it's a very, very, it's not judgmental. Right? There's not a judgmental energy there, but the bar is high.
You want to look like the other people. Right,
so that's a good thing, but also it's tricky if that's your main motive. Yeah. Right.
And what do you see as your main motive of staying in shape? As far as, I guess I'll go first. I view it, once you're already in really good shape, I mean, you always want to be better, and there's always avenues you can go down. Right, your body might become shaped a little bit differently, but where you'll get way better. Right, mm-hmm. Let's say I was training for a marathon versus bodybuilding. Right. So that aspect is me challenging myself and being like, can you do this? Can you do this? Right. And if I keep hitting that bar of I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. That spills into everything else in my life. Right.
Totally.
There's a confidence that comes with, I just push myself super hard, and I know that I keep hitting this bar. I can rely on myself. I trust that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Right. And so that's what I view training as. It literally is training that capacity, right, of self-trust and knowing your own competency going out in the world beyond the gym. But then also, what I see, I guess, as the value of being in very good physical shape is it's an indicator to others, in that people will slant towards taking you more seriously or believing more what you say, right, if they see the results of being very, very disciplined. They're like, if this guy's taking care of himself like this, right, in a physical capacity, that also probably extends into other areas of his life, right?
So many. It's signal.
Yeah.
You speak. I have the ability to sacrifice. I have the ability to be disciplined. Yeah. I have delayed gratification. I have so many things without even saying a word when you show up in shape.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, so we're back. We're jumping back in, and we've kind of gotten caught up to Michael's life where it's at this point, right? So you've written the book. You kind of found yourself over the last 7 years or so, and I wanted to, I guess, dig into a little bit of, you've gotten to this point, so where are we headed from here?
Yeah. So I want to circle back and answer your question of what my motive is with my training. right now, my body.
Yeah.
The word is longevity. The longer sentence is, can I do what I want when I want for as long as possible? And push the threshold of what it means to thrive into 50, 60, 70. And it's skills training. It's all about skills training.
What's skills training?
Bodybuilding is cool. There's a purpose. Strength is very needed for longevity.
Yeah.
Mobility for sure. Skills is animal flow, the mace, kettlebell flow, anything with the word flow in it, even landmine. Landmine is a skill. There's so much technique to it. You can't just learn it in one go round.
Yeah. If
I sat with you and you hadn't picked up weights before, within an hour, I could get you close to mastery of the bicep curl.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Right? If you've never touched a mace before, you're going to learn the tip of the spear in an hour. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a skill.
I've never taken a mace class. I've held them before and swung them around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But that's what I'm attracted to is skills. I'm attracted to teaching it. And I'm attracted to learning it because of the cognitive aspect of it, because of the patience aspect of it, and the payoff. You know, there's something that I revert back to a lot, and there's 4 areas of learning, and level 1 is unconscious incompetence. That's when you don't know that you don't know. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it turns into conscious incompetence when you suddenly become aware that you don't know.
This is you in 2019.
Or you picking up a mace for the first time.
Yeah.
You see someone doing a mace flow and you're like, I want to do that. And you pick it up and you're like, oh,
I'm so bad.
I don't know. I currently suck at this.
Yeah.
That's when the ego goes, this isn't for us.
Give it up.
Cool, I like it. It looks cool, but not for me. But the brain's like perked up, listening. I'm ready to learn something new.
Like there's a part of me that wants to keep going. Yeah. It's like scared of it. But,
yeah. And then it's like you get through that suck where like, I don't know, I suck, I can't do this. God, I'm tired of messing up. I just hit myself in the shin with the mace. Fuck. To the third level, which is conscious competence. Yep. It starts to click and you're like, oh, I can do now what I couldn't do last week. I can do now what I couldn't do a month ago. And then mastery is the unconscious competence. That's flow state. Yeah. Everyone has that who can tie their shoe. Yeah. I can tie my shoe, not look at it, and speak to you at the same time. I don't have to think about it.
I think of it as like getting myself to a point where I'm present, but I can do a sophisticated thing kind of on autopilot while still being present, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that flow state can exist in everything. In writing. I mean, we've been in flow state right now. Yeah, like we took a break and I looked at the phone. There was an hour and 20 minutes passed. Didn't feel like that. Yeah. That's flow state.
Yeah. That flow state, I always know, right, like the clearest delineation that it's happening is that there's a timelessness to whatever I'm doing. Right?
Yeah.
I've lost myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then to remove the need to learn more to feel adequate. Yeah. I'm enough. Of course I'm going to continue learning. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But everything that I've done in my career thus far has led to the methods, the philosophy, and the system that I use for myself and my clients. So now it's about honing the delivery of that. And then it's the 3 pillars, right? So it's function, mindset, purpose. The function is the catalog that I've put together that is the Human Hybrid Project in movement. Yeah. The mindset aspect is, can we go deeper in our intentionality with the movement? Can we go deeper in understanding how we click, how we move through life in our relationships, our habits, our disciplines, Are we making the same mistakes over and over? Are we who we say we are?
Yeah. making the why roots, dig deeper, essentially.
Yes. And then, of course, the purpose aspect, which is something bigger than myself, which is helping people find it for themselves by way of just me living it. I'm not forcing anything, right? I was talking to you about the motive of the book. That book is for me.
Yeah.
That is what has worked for me.
Yeah.
And it's an offering. It's just simply an offering.
Like, one of the reasons I wanted to interview you is there's never been any doubt in my head. I'm like, whatever Michael is teaching, I know that he is living that, right? I know that is him, and I think that's a hard quality to get others to be thinking that, right? And,
yeah. What a great compliment, because
No, I mean it. Yeah.
I feel that I received.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that way all the time. More than not, that I'm like, yes, I'm embodying what I'm a man that is living what he speaks, right? So thank you for saying that.
Well, I whatever Michael I've known over the last couple of years, I'm like, if Michael wasn't about this, he wouldn't be doing it, right?
Then my energy towards you has been a win. Yeah. Then has been a win. Yeah, and that self-doubt has been a reoccurring thorn in the side of my soul my whole life. And that's what the inner work does too. Like that, I told you in 2019, I began that inner work journey. It starts to make you question things that you've never questioned before. And one of those was, why do you have trouble with follow through? Why do you say you want these things and you go about 80% and then it's pull back? The surface level answer is one that a lot of people are plagued with, which is they're afraid of actually achieving it, of actually becoming that. Yeah. And the other is they don't believe that they can actually do it. Yeah. And I think that mine was a combination of both, right? And so last year on my birthday, I had literally to the day been in Austin and on it for 1 year. Mm-hmm. Written the book, quadrupled my business. Helly and I are on fire and in more love than ever. I have a table of powerful people that are there celebrating this moment with me. Yeah. And I'm like, this is the meaning of life. Yeah. This is what younger Michael was wanting. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, in that same exact moment, I was like, it's going to shift. And so I inserted this seed of doubt, whether it was like, do you actually deserve this? Yeah. And then in the span of 3 months, I went from like the top of that mountain to, why am I doing this? I don't even like training anymore. Who are you? I'm so unmotivated. And then all of a sudden, my body gave way. My lower back seized up, and it was just devastating. Yeah. And I could not pin it. I've been training smart, hard, and I'm a beast for 25 years. Yeah. How is my back just all of a sudden, right? And then it was like, well, have you been training so hard that you've actually haven't been training smart? You're a fraud because you're this world-class coach that speaks about flow and mobility. You can't even get out of bed because your back's fucked. Spiraling, right? Yeah. Spiraling. And it put me in a hole. Yeah. It put me in a hole. And then you wrote a book called Becoming, Michael. And you can't even find the motivation to get out of bed and do this. And like, are you really that reliant on your physical body to feel powerful? And so there was all of these things, and I didn't have the ability to combat them mentally, is what happened. And so a good friend of mine,
Jesse?
no, Jesse is the man, my man. But I won't say her name here. You do know her though. But she was, besides Helly, she was the light in the darkness for me. She was like, again, a female goes, you got to get out of here. Go. Because I was like, I got to take 2 weeks off to like let this really heal and find myself. And she was like, get out of here. Get out of this house. And I went on my hero's journey. I went in the middle of nowhere. I literally had the book A Hero with 1,000 Faces by Dr. Joseph Campbell. I had a 200-page journal, blank, 0 food, no phone, no electricity, no nothing. I'm going to go on a rite of passage and figure out some shit.
Yeah.
And it was tumultuous.
A new trial.
The pain set in physically.
Yeah.
Like it moved into my foot. I don't even want to talk about this to give it power, but that happened. And so what really happened was my body shut down day one, because it was like, yeah, you're out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have phone, you don't have food, but we know you're going to distract yourself with movement. Yeah. We both know that you're going to go on hikes, you're going to go on walks, you're going to go do yoga and go swim and not do the work of going inside.
You came here for,
So I was forced to lay on that cot with that bed or with that book and a pen, and I just started traversing the hero's journey. And I started trying to find parallels in my life and the mythology that Joseph Campbell had laid out. And like many things in my life, it's a weaving of multiple things. So what I did was I used the template of the hero's journey. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
You would really like it. It's, if you want to know an example of the hero's journey as far as storytelling, George Lucas consulted with Joseph Campbell for Star Wars.
I see.
Literally, like verbatim, the very first, the Star Wars trilogy
There
is...
are these like archetypes of stories and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I didn't realize that it goes back to the beginning of time in every culture, in every way.
Oh yeah, we have all these, stories that we remember that sit in very unique places in our mind. For example, like the story of Noah's Ark, right? I don't know what the exact archetype is, but it's a weird story, but it's unique, and there's no way I would ever forget that. And it sits in a very distinct spot in my head, and it's because it's this ancient story that's fit within some archetype that I'm able to map my own like reality and understanding of myself on.
Your own hero's myth.
Yeah.
Yes. And he touched down on the Bible a lot in the hero's journey. And what I really loved was he did not leave any culture out. He used Native American culture a lot.
That's
He
cool.
used Greek mythology a lot and Hinduism a lot. But like, it was from the beginning of time, every corner of the earth has their own version of the hero's journey. And it's like a call to adventure.
Yeah.
Some sort of rite of passage has to happen, some sort of bottoming out, some sort of slaying of the dragon, and some sort of coming back home with the elixir to deliver to the world. And I'm like, I got it. I got to have that.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what I did was I used that book, and then I also used the traversing of the energy system, the chakras, right? And so if you start in the root and go all the way up to the crown and then back down, that's the goal, right? So as your energy travels up your spine and it goes back down, and it's the serpent traveling the spine. It's the actual physical spine itself. But I use those two templates to journal and write, so I was taking from the hero's journey, and then what I have learned in my own journey, in my own yoga practice, to interweave them and see what fits. And then the big ones that came out were the temptress, my relationship with anima. That's the feminine presence in the masculine frame. You know?
Okay.
You know, so it's like, it's lust. Lust is there.
Yeah.
Your own, it's basically how you interact with women on every level. In your psyche and physically.
Yeah.
And the big one that was there was the atonement with the Father. Okay. So my view on God, and then also my view on the two men that, you know, my biological father and my father.
Yeah.
And I came back and had a whole journal full of beautiful writings and drawings, and I had read the book front to back, and 0 answers.
Yeah. Just more.
And I'm like, maybe it wasn't about coming back with anything. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was that.
Sometimes answers are delayed too. We just can't see them as they're evolving, right? And coming to fruition. So.
And then I came back, and my body was still back. All of it, just And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? I went on this rite of passage. I was supposed to like come back with the answer for myself and like for the world. So defeated, Mitch. All I could do was sit on my med ball and write and be on the computer and write, but I was so uninspired to write.
Yeah. Writing's hard. It's painful.
Yeah.
You figure out some really cool things because you can trace your thoughts, right, and get them organized rather than swirling around your head, but it's hard.
But I couldn't do it. There was nothing coming.
Yeah.
And so I felt this female presence staring at me, and she's been with me for as long as I can remember, and that's my acoustic guitar.
Oh, and this is how we, okay.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, I see.
So I picked up that acoustic guitar and I started to play again. And, you know, familiarity came back into my fingers and my voice. And then I started playing some songs that I had written previously. And then I played the song Ghosts. And it took a whole new shape. I had the lyrics memorized. Yeah. But I actually heard the story that was coming through the lyrics completely differently for the first time. And I'm like, holy shit. Is this from the hero's journey?
This is how it came out.
And yeah. And so I opened up my notebook and I'm going, okay, stage 1, call to adventure. And I thought of Shiva. Are you familiar with Shiva, the Hindu deity?
No, I don't.
A lot to unpack there, but it'll be worth your time. And if
complicated.
you're wanting to like understand my view, that's a worthwhile thing.
I'll do some digging.
But it was like, okay, that's the call to adventure. Shiva was calling me forth. So first track of the album is called I Am the River. And so I just started traversing my notes and going, what songs do I currently have that are in parallel with these different stages, and what songs do I need to write? Yeah. And so I ended up writing that whole album in a month. Yeah. And it was the answer. It was the elixir.
You need the music back in your life.
It was music, brother.
Yeah.
And it healed that moment when I felt like I was betrayed by my band, and then I left and they left me. And I'm never going to play music in a band again because it's done. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting like goosebumps. I can relate in terms of like my scientific career of like, and coming back into it, and you're like, oh, this like heals the wound of like something.
Yes. Wrong, right? And it makes me emotional now, right? Because it was like, it had been sitting there all along. Yeah. And it was why I went into the desert. I went for the elixir, but I came back with some scrolls that were going to make me fall in love with my art again. Yeah. And, you know, as you know, I reached out to Khary to bring them to life. Yeah. And we've been recording and creating the media and the visuals and making it a physical representation. And this time it's very special because it's the first time I feel honest and true. You know, because
in like a musical capacity.
Yeah. Because I mean, it was true. It was truly me. It was truly me playing the guitar. It was truly me singing the vocals and writing the lyrics. But the motive was, I need to be famous. I need people to like me. I need people to tell me how cool I am.
This is when you're younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it crashed and burnt for multiple reasons. But now, this time, it's just because I am in love with it. And I never got the chance to truly go, that was it. That was what I was going for. As far as recording a song and listening to it and being like, I am so damn proud of that.
Yeah, like, this is me, and I worked my ass off on this, and it came out, and I feel like this, accurately represents a real part of me, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of beauty in that. Yeah.
You know Andrew Huberman?
Yeah.
Of course. He talks about tattoos because he has some.
I see you've got some.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, the best description for how I can answer why I have tattoos is because it's a representation of how I feel on the inside. Mm-hmm. And this album, this musical project, is the truest representation of how I feel on the inside yet.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Very excited about it.
You want to get your guitar here a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
This song's called Ghosts. Poor me, I've done it again. I've poured you out. Ready or not, this is the end, there is no more. Short sleeves is what I was wearing, at ease and not this time. I just found out this is a life that I'm burning down. So I'm bailing out again, and nothing you possess would ever tame me. I'm sorry for the lack of more. I told myself that I could keep you. I thought I could live in the real world. Selfish it is. I pushed and pulled apart. I wore it out. I know that in time I'll be lying in bed of even school. Been living under umbrella that's there even when it's dry. I just found out this is my life and I'm missing out. So I'm bailing out again, and nothing you possess would ever tame me. I'm sorry for the lack of more. I told myself that I could keep you. Yeah. I thought I could live. I thought I could live. I thought I could live in the real world.
All right, we're getting to the end of this, and I mean, I've had a great time having Michael on for sure, and it really got into a nice flow state in terms of just getting to be super curious about someone. And Michael, as far as your training and your music and your writing, where can we find your stuff?
Yes. So humanhybridproject.com, that's the hub. That's the function, mindset, purpose. So that's where you'll find the majority of my training philosophy, my programmings, and how to work with me as a coach. TenetSignal.com is going to be the music, and we'll have all of that linked. But basically, all the ways that you know to view media, I'm on. So we have Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, all the things. And so with those links included, I hope that it reaches you somehow.
And what's your Instagram? Like, where do you normally post your content as you're kind of going about your life?
Yeah, so my life is Human Hybrid Project, and the Tenet Signal is the music.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a great pleasure for me. So we'll wrap there. Yeah,
same, brother. And it's very, very cool to see you pursuing this. You're good at it. You're shining. It's not forced, and so I'm proud of you. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, just try to get better each time, and yeah.